to modern Orthodox, okay? So you have a party that's very extreme to the right. Many of the Kippah Sruga, the Tzionut Datit members of Israel, do not relate to that because it's far to the left. They're liberals. They don't find any common ground with that very, very right-wing party. And if I'm talking with mandates, it's about 3 mandates, okay? So we have these almost 3 mandates that you can play around with, that you can try to gather and take to your party. And they're doing a lot of effort. The Likud party, Kachol Lavan party, Yair Lapid, everyone has in their party, they have representatives of like religious Knesset members, men and women. And if you see the campaigns, you can see a lot that are trying to gather them. Say, if you want a place and you're not an extreme right wing, come to me. Because traditionally they always had a party. Traditionally it was called the Mafdal, or afterwards the Aychud HaLeumi and Yamina, Naftali Bennett, okay? If the Prime Minister, his party, that was exactly, he had 6 mandates there. It was more liberal, Orthodox Israelis, but he vanished, okay? His party, he left and he's not anymore in the game. So from that 6 mandates, 3 will go definitely to the right. That leaves at least 3 mandates. That's what kind of we're playing around with. And many are saying that it really depends where those people will go to see if it's going to be 62, 58, 61. It depends where we're going. So that's kind of to explain where we are before the elections. Why maybe these elections, this 5th time, is a bit different than the other times. In my feeling, this yes Bibi, not Bibi, after this election I don't know if we'll go away totally, but I have a feeling that it's kind of Bibi's last chance. Because if he won't be able to form a government after this time, I don't know if it will come from him, but the Likud party that in the past 5 elections are by far the biggest party. I mean, I'm talking about 34 mandates, and the party after it was 17, 18. Now the polls are talking about 22 or 24 for Yesh Atid. But still, the biggest party, and for already 4 years, they're the biggest party, and they're not able to make a coalition because there's such a big coalition of just not Bibi, okay? And that's why. So he's very, very powerful, but they gave another chance. My feeling is that if this time he won't be able to form a government, things will change, and within the Likud party, maybe a new leader will rise up and try to change Bibi's leadership, come instead. But things will move, and I think also with the just not Bibi group, I mean, we're in a deadlock, and maybe it's right for also the 4th time. But my feeling is that this time is really probably Bibi's last chance to form a government, and if not, something will happen. Things will move to find kind of a different coalition and to move forward. The second thing that is different and will be very interesting is, and for that we'll need to understand what happened in the last year. This last year, we had a government, very interesting government from the right and from the left, with the first time an Arab party that was part of the government, but they were with 61 seats. And 61 is a very, very tricky number because they started with 61, and right away one of the right-wing parties that they all promised before the elections, we'll never sit with the Arab party, we'll never do that, and they did. So one of the Knesset members said, I'm not part of this game. I promised before the elections, and they elected me, and I'm not part of the coalition. So they already, after a short time, they were already like on the edge. So he didn't move to the opposition, but they were like moving with 60 members against 59 with this guy. And there was so much pressure, and when it got to places where you need to decide on very delicate things, regarding, let's say, the territories and the Jews living in the territories. And then you have an Arab party, so the Arab party can't connect to that. And then you have the opposition, so you say, okay, so maybe the opposition will help, but no, they won't help. Even if it's like a security reason, okay? We had sometimes security issues where you would say, okay, let's be responsible and do this because it's really important for the state of Israel. And it goes from both sides. I'm not saying here that the right parties did that, and I think everyone plays around with that and saying, okay, because it's so delicate and it's 61, we're not going to help because we want this government to fall. And that's what happened in the end of the day. It was just, the number of 61 is almost impossible. So, in one hand, everyone's running after the 61 so they can form the coalition. In the other hand, I think there's a big understanding that 61 isn't enough. Okay, that even if you have that 61, you can maybe start with that, but it's not enough to hold a government. Definitely not for 4 years. And when I spoke to you last year, I had a feeling that this government will survive, last longer than 1 year. I mean, there were a lot of people that thought that even 1 year was a lot. And the main reason I said was they have so much to lose. I mean, when you have so much to lose, so you stick together. But what basically happened that they did have a lot to lose, but when you have individuals that understand, okay, I'm about to lose a lot, let's do this. We had actually 3 individuals that on the way decided to move from the coalition to say, okay, I can't handle this anymore. I'm moving, and they looked forward, and now they're within the Likud party. Okay, so they have a place already in the next government. So for their own benefit, they found the space how to benefit from all this situation, and people lost a lot. I mean, if you think about Naftali Bennett, who was the prime minister and had and he was also, as a prime minister, he was also popular. People liked the way he. The way he worked, and they did good things. And when I say popular, it's a part of the population. But I think, I mean, he did. I'm trying to look at it objectively, although you can't. But he did a good job. But his party was, I mean, he had no party. He had no people behind him. So he, in a way, lost a lot. He's not in the politics now, and his party kind of vanished. And his number 2, which he walked with for many, many years, Ayelet Shaked, she tried to form now this new party, and she's probably not going to succeed. Okay, she's with the Poles. She's together with Hadar Mukhtar, who I said before, and she's a politician and was very, very popular. People really saw her to be like maybe a prime minister in a few more years, and now she's in the polls with this small party together with a 20-year-old Israeli. So that's life. So people really lost a lot from breaking this government, some people, but it's politics, and it's a very, very cruel kind of, very cruel game. So that's why, I mean, I think again that these elections will be a bit different, only because of the Bibi just not Bibi that's probably going to fall apart. Hopefully, because I would, as a citizen, I would love parties to talk about what they believe in, what they're going to do, what they're not going to do, and that when everything is just about one person, it makes it very shallow and really doesn't even force people to really think through how they're going to deal with things. It's all just about one person, yes or no. And second, the understanding that 61 is a very, very hard number, and going to the edges it doesn't work. So even if he has 61 and this very right-wing extreme party is part of the 61, so it's going to be very tough, because you're going to also have things that are for human rights, and then you'll have someone saying, okay, I'm not playing with this game. So suddenly again, you're with 60 or you're with 59. It always goes to both sides. So whoever has the magic number of 61, I think will try to gather somehow a larger number, and to leave the margins, put them aside, kind of bring things to the center with a bigger coalition. But I said it now as a sentence, it's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. Also because you know that because we have elections after elections, so whatever you'll do now, and if it doesn't work, so you're gonna be you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it very hard and it's not, after 4 years, people forget what you promised and what you did. After 3 months or 4 months, people don't forget. So you'll pay for it. If you do something, you'll pay for it. So that's where we're standing now. And I don't know what will be. So I gave you like the idea about maybe, hopefully, this Bibi, just not Bibi, will go less and less, and that hopefully somehow they'll form a kind of larger government that's more in the center and thus less to the more extremist parties. So that in a... So that's kind of in a very short, that's kind of where we're standing now. And I always used to finish with words of Torah. And the rabbi mentioned the beautiful pasuk of Ki ha-mitzvah azot, lo rechoka hi, lo bashamayim hi, that this mitzvah is not in the sky, not beyond the sea. It's beficha uvilvavcha la'asoto, that you can do it. And, 1 second. אז תלך לי אימא בחוץ. כן, אז אלמה או אימא. או שתחכה דקה. And there's a question about, because the pasuk says, Ki ha-mitzvah azot. Because of this mitzvah is not far. And the question is, what mitzvah are they talking about? And the Ramban suggests that the mitzvah is doing tshuva. That doing tshuva, that mitzvah is not far away. It's here and you can do it. And just about a thought about that it's here, that you can do it, when you read it first, it feels like, okay, it's here, it's easy, just decide and do it. But I think there's a double message here. When it's here, it also can be much more harder and much more complicated. Because when you know that you have the responsibility, that you're close to things, and it's all on you in a way that if you do the effort, if you work very hard, if you decide to do something and devote it, you can make it the change. It's very easy when something is far away. It's easy to say, "Oh, it's far away. I can't go." And there's a nice midrash on that pasuk that's saying that someone goes to explain this idea, goes into this bet midrash where people are studying Torah, and he goes in and he says, "Wow, these people, they're like angels. They learn Torah and they're like geniuses and angels." And what he does after he tells himself this story about how special these people are, so he decides to go out and go play, leshevet ba'ashar, or do nothing, okay? Because it's so far away, there's no chance I can do it. So, and many times, like we look at other people, we have this feeling, oh, he's so talented, how do they do that? It goes for them so easy. How many times can we look around and look at someone or look at it and say, oh, it's so easy for them. I wish it were easy for me. But the truth is that you accomplish things with hard work, and sometimes you don't see things and that notion of it's so easy, it's like saying bashamayim hi. It's so far away, so I don't need to do that. And when they say beficha uvilvavcha la'asoto, when it's so close for you to do, it means that not only you need to decide, of course, but that doesn't mean that it's easy. It means that you need to understand that it's hard work and it's your responsibility, and that's what you need to do. And I'm saying that because I'm also, of course, saying it to myself, because really a lot of things around us, also what I'm talking about Israel and the 5th elections, and you hear people saying, okay, I'm not going to go vote anymore because enough. That's exactly saying lo bashamayim. That's saying it's bashamayim. It's saying that, okay, it's not up to me and let other people deal with it. No, but I think that, and that's essentially part of also tshuva. That's exactly what tshuva is, to understand that it's also not far away, but it's also very hard work to come and confront yourself and to understand that that's what we need to do to change things. And I hope that we'll all be able to do this process and have a good year together. Shabbat shalom. page 155.
Yikada Shemei Rabbi Madi Fratuti Yamlich Malchutei Bechayechonu V'yomecho U'chayechol Beit Yisrael Magala Uvizmahan Karim V'yimeru Amen Yehesh Me'rabba Mevorah Olam Le'almei Hamaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shmei Dekudesha Le'ela Mikol Birchata V'shirata Tushechata V'chemata Damiram B'yama V'yimeru Amen Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu V'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah El Hagadol Hagibur V'Hanara El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zorcher Chasdei Avot U'Mevi Goel Livnei V'neihem L'man Shemo B'Ahava Melech Hosef U'Keter Moshiach Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham U'Foket Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayim Eitim Atah V'Rav L'Oshia Morid Hata Mechalchel Chaim B'Chesed Mechayim Meitim B'Rachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim U'Matir Asurim U'Mekayim Emunato L'Shenei Afar Misham Umido Melach Melech Umechayeh Umashliach Yeshua Ne'eman Atah L'chayot Meitim Baruch Atah Adonai Mechayeh HaMeitim Na'aritzcha v'na'kdishcha Kisotziach Safei Kodesh Hamakdishim Shimcha b'Kodesh Katu Hayat Nevi'echa V'karazel Zevi'amar Kadosh 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 Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzivaot, Melech ha'aretz, Kivodo, Kivodo, Mahale, Mahale, Hayin Mikom, Kivodo, Kivodo, Mahale, Mahale, Ahonam, Hayin Mikom, Kivodo, Kivodo, Mahale, Mahale, Olam, Mishar Tav Shoalim Shoalim Zelazer Hayem Mikom Kivodo Mishar Tav Shoalim Shoalim Zelazer Hayem Mikom Kivodo Lumatam Baruch Yomei Baruch Kivod Adonai Nihim Komo Nihim Komo U'yifem berachamim Ve'yachonam Ham yachadim shemo Erev avoker Bechol yom tamid Amayim bi'avam Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Hu Eloheinu Avinu, Malkeinu, Moshienu, Lehu Yashmienu, Berachamav Sheni, Sheni Nenechola, Yodachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Udivrei Kodshecha Katuv Lemor. Yimloch Elohim Elohai Tzion, Lidor Vador, Hallelujah. Lidor Vador, Lidor Vador, Lidor Vador, Lidor Vador, Lidor Vador, Nagid God Lecha. Lidor Vador, Lidor Vador, Lidor Vador, Lidor Vador, Lidor Vador, Nagid God Lecha. Ulenetzach Netzachim, Kiddushacha Nagdish, Kiddushacha Nagdish. V'shichacha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamush, leolam, leolam va'ed. Lidor vador, Lidor vador, Lidor vador, Lidor vador, Lidor vador, nagid God lecha. Lidor vador, Lidor vador, Lidor vador, Lidor vador, Lidor vador, nagid God lecha. Ki HaMelech Gadol, Gadol v'Kadosh, Gadol v'Kadosh Ata. Ki HaMelech Gadol, Gadol v'Kadosh, Gadol v'Kadosh Ata. Baruch Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Oseh shalom, shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, amen.
Page 181.
Yiganami Gerashimir Haba. Nachir Devi Amlich Machutev, Chayachono V'Yomechon, V'Chayedecho Beit Yisrael, V'Galav Yizman Kari V'Yimeru. Amen. Eishmera V'Torah, V'Yom Yamaya, Yidvara Yishlav, Yidvara V'Romam V'Nasev, Yetadar V'Nalav Yithola Shmei Kudisha. V'Nela Mikom V'Chata V'Shirata Tushpachata V'Nachamata, V'Niram V'Yama V'Yimeru. Yigabal Son V'Chon, V'Chol Yisrael, Kodamo V'Ohan Di V'Shemaya V'Yimeru. Shalom Shemai v'chaim aleinu v'akol Yisrael v'yimeru. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'akol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Ein k'Eloheinu, ein k'Adonenu, ein k'Malkeinu, ein k'Moshienu. Mi k'Eloheinu, mi k'Adonenu, mi k'Malkeinu, Moshienu, Yodel Eloheinu, Yodel Adonenu, Yodel Malkeinu, Yodel Moshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shetiru Avotenu, Lefanecha Eketorech Aleinu L'Shalbeach L'Adon HaKol, Latei Gdula L'Yotzer Reshit, Shelo Asanu Be'aratzo, Velo Samanu Mishpachot Adama, Shelo Sam Kalkeinu Kahem, V'Kor Aleinu K'chol Hamonam, Anachu Chorim, U'Mishachavim U'Modim, L'Fnei Melech Malkei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shemurach Hashamayim v'Yoser Haaretz, U'Moshe Yikaro B'Shamayim V'Ma'al, U'Shvina Tizo, V'Kol Pei Meromi, Hu Eloheinu Eino, Emet Malkeinu Efes Ulato, Kakatu V'Torato, Hayom V'Hashivota Elev Avecha, Ki Adonai Hu Elohim, B'Shamayim Imam, V'Al Haaretz V'Itav. כתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ,
ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא,
יהיה אדוני אחד,
ושמו, שמו, ושמו. The psalm for Elul is on page 80. I don't know. He's been in Luleihem anti lira b'tuv Adonai be'eretz chaim kabel Adonai chazak v'yemetz libecha v'kabel Adonai. This week we observe the Yartzeiten of Oscar Kraus, a founding member of the PJC, Edith Lemberg, mother-in-law of Todd Eckelman, Paul Stepner, stepfather of Sandra Goldman and Elaine Prager, Aaron Einzig, son of Eleanor Einzig, Benjamin Smith, grandfather of Leah Leonard, Joseph Castiel, brother of Mercedes Castiel, Ann Cantor, mother of Todd Eckelman, and Kenneth Rosenberg, brother-in-law of Sybil Rosenberg. We also recall Abraham Karpf, Samuel Rinker, and Chaim Simcha, who are memorialized on our board. I will also make mention of the fact that our member Gloria Staple suddenly lost her daughter this past week. The family is observing Shiva. The last day of Shiva will be tomorrow from 11 to 6. The address is in your emails. It's also 730 Pelham Road in New Rochelle, apartment 3C. There's not a minion going to be there tomorrow, but they'll be welcoming Shiva visitors throughout the day. And of course, I wish Gloria much comfort during a very, very difficult time. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 82. Yitzgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. Ba'gala u'v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shalama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. A yasher koach to Roger for Psuke, and to Avinom for Shacharit, and to Jeremy for the Torah service, and to Steve for Musaf, and to Rabbi Dina Shargel for learning beautifully as always. And it's so wonderful to see a full house, and it's just going to get even fuller. And it's my pleasure to invite up Steve, our president, to make the announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. It is
Shabbat Shalom.
wonderful to see everyone, but particularly wonderful to see Avinol, Chavi, the whole family here, and we want to thank them for sponsoring this week's Kiddush in honor of Nadav joining Tzahal and joining the IDF. Quick reminders, there are services Sunday night, the candle lighting is at 6:29, and services will begin here at 6:45. The rest of the services are in your in the announcements. I'll just remind everyone there are family services on both days beginning at 10:30 a.m. Regular services start at 9 a.m. Tashlik is Monday at 4:30 at Shore Park. Otherwise, the only other quick announcement will be there's book club on Monday, October 24th. The book will be The Netanyahus by Joshua Cohen. So we'll conclude with Adon Olam on page 1. Vakasha.
The scroll of remembrance, if you want to participate and haven't gotten in touch with me, or you're not opted, is going to print on Wednesday. So make sure you reach me either tomorrow or Thursday.
Thank you.
Steve, one other thing, someone dropped a handkerchief with embroidery on it, on the floor, I don't know whose it is. If it's yours, it's going to be right up here on the left.
And one other thing, I actually don't think I forgot. I don't think I mentioned. Gloria Staples' daughter was Ann Katz. That was her name, and may her memory always be a blessing.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa V'Hefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'Acharei Kitlot HaKol V'Vado
Everyone says